Through the power of voodoo, black magic, and suburbs, I've managed to convince a buddy of mine to pop on and kind of talk about his overall experiences as well with Agarest War. Give it up for the man, the myth, the legend, the
Scrub Lord of Sundays, the Master of VR, the man who loses his Pokemon and his heart. Smab the Sunday Scrub Lord.
now, homie. Am I correct when I say this? You're not necessarily a hardcore Agarest fan, right? You're not that hardcore.
I picked it up the first year I actually moved into Aurelia, which is not where I'm living now, but and I played it for like a solid month and a half, and I got maybe halfway through, and I had other shit to do, but it was a fun fucking game.
Cool. So basically, you've played it, you liked what you saw, you haven't finished it, which is fine. That's all swell and good. Now, just for context, I am a hardcore. I've beaten the game 8 times so far, and counting. Just the first game, no less. I don't want to think about if I include the other two.
That's nuts.
Yeah, yeah, I've played 8 times. So basically, the same amount of times and the same amount of time I've played for Persona 5, Persona 4, some big games. So
It's
that,
safe to say you like Aggro War like I like Pokemon.
yeah. Arguably a little bit more and less at the same time, which is kind of weird if I'm being real. Now, when it comes down to it, I have a love-hate relationship with Agarest. Even though I've played it so much, I have a complex love-hate. I love lots of stuff about it. And I figured I'd drag my buddy over here to talk about what he likes about it.
Oh, good lord. I think I'm gonna regret this already.
No. Yeah, you're probably gonna regret this. You're gonna regret this. Now, when it comes down to it, for me, when I think about what's my favorite part of Agarest War, I'm gonna be real with you. It's not the sex scenes. It should be the sex scenes. It's not the sex scenes. The real reason why I get into Agarest War is some of the weirdest reasons ever, you might think. I like some of these bonding events. I I think those are probably my favorite parts. It's just these moments where I finally go like, I ain't crying. That was a touch. I ain't crying. You cry. You cry. I cry. And then meantime I'm blubbering like a broke man bitch. Yeah. Um, my buddy over here though. What is you? Probably some of your favorite moments when you played it. What was something that drew you in?
When I got into Aggro I was coming off of a fresh playthrough of Final Fantasy Tactics Advance for the GBA on its hardest difficulty, so I was looking on something similar in that vein. What I got in Aggro was a lot more in depth than what I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was just gonna be like, all right, put my guys on the field, kill some shit. But then I got to Generation 2 character. I'm like, holy shit, this is a whole different beast. My favorite part was making the relationship to get to the next gen.
Yeah.
I ended up capping out, however, on the third generation kid.
Ooh, you capped out at the middle ground, homie.
Yeah.
You ain't seen nothing. Wow. Okay. Okay. Now,
Second would be like the fucking combat and shit. Like the combos and shit you could pull off in that game was nuts.
yeah. Yeah. Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to ask him about No Lake Game for obvious reasons. He's only completed the third chapter. So, you know. Now, here's the thing. What I want to talk about is something that I find I didn't notice when I first played the game. It's something I did not notice, really. It's something that took me multiple times. Now, you, homie, might find this kind of intriguing. Other people who don't know about it already might find it kind of interesting. But did you know that when you're going through these romances, the game actually incentivizes who you should go with based off of your stats and your class.
I've got to say, my character, my generation characters were probably trash because I bucked that trend hard.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
picked who I liked, not who
Yes,
the
I did the
stats
same
made.
thing. I picked who I liked first, especially both based off of personality and also based off of the first bonding event I would see. And I
So
would
I
kind of
ended up
decide who
getting
was going to romance based off of that.
a jack of all trades character, which anyone who's played Agarest knows you should not do.
Never. Don't do it. Don't
Anyone
do
who's
it.
really played an RPG knows not to do that.
Yeah. Even,
You get a group of people that specialize.
yeah.
That's why you don't kill the white mage.
All RPG vets know. Don't, unless you're doing like something like a challenge or you're trying to be a troll or just dorking around, don't do a jack of all. Don't do it. It's not worth it.
Yeah, well, there's actually an interesting thing about the saying for jack of all trades. It's jack of all trades, better a jack of many than master of one.
Yeah, and normally it's something that you should be prided for. That you can do so many things and do them a decent way. RPG games say no.
Yeah,
RPG games say
they bug
hell
it.
no. And then they cap you in the back of the skull. Before or after they decide to curb something, they haven't decided. When it comes down to it, though, what I found so trippy is the game does it in a way that I've never expected. I was expecting this when I went the first time. But it tries to incentivize it, and then it decides to say, F you, you're doing it. Which is hilarious. Now, he doesn't know about that because he hasn't actually gotten far enough for that yet.
Yeah, the main thing I have to say about Agrest is you buy the game, you think you're gonna get a turn-based action RPG. What you're actually getting is a dating simulator with RPG elements.
Wish I could whistle, but yeah. Same, sadly. I kind of thought I was getting into kind of a discount persona initially. That's what I expected. Discount persona. I
And you
did not
weren't
get.
as let down as I was.
I,
With me coming off of a fucking
yeah, you went from a
Final Fantasy
tactical.
advanced hardcore mode.
Yeah, you went from tactical to dating sim. Which,
What am I playing and why do I like it?
yeah, if I was you, I'd also kind of like cut off after the third because I'd be like, what the fuck is happening to me? What? Why? Huh? How did I get here? What led to this?
Well, I kind of had to drop off after the third kid because my dad was being a massive cunt. I
Oh,
was living with him and my sister, and my dad was being a massive fucking dick, so I had other priorities.
yeah. I will
I might
say
have
this.
finished it if he wasn't a dick.
If you still have it, I'd almost say finish it just
I'd
for the
have to
lulz.
rebuy it.
Either finish it just for the lulz or finish it just like as a spite. Like, ha! You were a dick, but I still finished it, fool.
You know what? I'll put that on my stream docket someday.
Yeah. It's a fun. I will say there's a right way to play it, which
And
is
then there's my way to
not
play it,
the
which
way
is
I
not-
play. And then there's the wrong way to play, which is him. And then there's me in the middle. Then there's me just kind of like in the middle, like, what's wrong with these? What? What? Huh? Okay. Now, here's another thing that I think should be talked about if we're going to be talking about things that were really cool about Agarest. Things that you don't expect it to do well. No one expects it to do well at this. But, character designs. Sure, it needs some, like, buffing out. Like, for example, you get introduced to this one character who's not a human.
Oh, I think he was my favorite character.
Maybe? But considering what
There
I'm
was
talking about,
definitely one character
for
that
now,
wasn't
for this
human.
example, is a she. Yeah. There's the first non-human chick you can romance is kind of like a dark elf. Basically, it's a Syrian. Now, here's the thing. This sounds good on paper. There's romance between other characters, even though they're other species. Cool. There's freaking. They look really cool. They look really believable. They look really neat. They fit into the world really nicely. Here's the problem, though. And this is a problem for me. But it's also something that is like a cool idea. You can actually have a kid with that other species. Think about that.
Interspecies reviewer with extra parts.
Yeah, basically, he's nailed it. It's interspecies, but more parts in some areas and less parts in other areas. It's kind of crazy when you think about it, but it's something that is a cool idea, even if it needs to be taken farther. Uh, when you romance these other characters, especially these other species characters, you'd expect some of the characteristics to carry over. They kind of don't. They really don't. Like, one instant where you can hook up with a heartbeat chick. And here's the thing. While you kind of get the wings, they're not... Aside from the wings, the character looks exactly like the first character you started playing at the start. Like, twinsies. Like, identical. I can't tell enough of a difference if it wasn't for the feathers.
That's fucking shame.
Yeah, it is.
They should take a lot of inspiration from the mother and not from the father.
Or at least balance it out a bit better, at least. Granted, I agree with you. It should be more focused on taking aspects from the mother than the dad. Especially since the dad was kind of bland.
Yeah, like, you romance that dark elf, you should look like a dark elf.
Or at least have the ears at the minimum. Should at least at the bare minimum have the ears.
Instead, it mainly just affects your stats.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing it affects. Which is cool to an extent. But they needed to push it farther. It's a great concept and a great idea. It just needs to be taken further. Arguably, for a couple of reasons, that probably won't happen, sadly, due to the fact that the ones in charge of that is Compile Hard, and Compile Hard's biggest issue is they have no real ambition, but I digress.
And that's when you get a fucking person who's like, hey, Gaiman, I'll give you $10,000 if you buy the rights.
Well, the problem with that is you have to have money to buy rights. I got no money.
That's why I said secret benefactor.
I have $20. You want $20? I got $20. Even that I don't have right now.
9.
This month I don't even have that much. I have 15. $15 by the end of the month. I have 15. And I need to make sure I keep at least 10 of that. The price of being broke, Af.
I know that too hard.
Yeah.
That's me, everyone.
But it's crazy because it's like, this is a great idea. It is a great idea.
You know, like, it's also been employed in other games.
And they've done it better in some ways.
Like, I know this video is supposed to be Agarest War, but we were
it's okay, bring
talking
it up.
about, like, later on, like, earlier. For those who don't know, this is being recorded on the day we did the Nuzlocke. Fucking Persona.
Yeah.
You kept mentioning Persona.
Well, they don't do the knocking out bit. Or the getting married bit either.
Like,
but
the whole romance bit and all that
everything else
shit.
they do really well. And what I find funniest is this is just something I say often. Whenever I play Agarest. Like, I'm pretty sure most people who talk to me as I play Agarest probably want to punch me for this by now. But what I always say is, Agarest War has the potential to go toe-to-toe with Persona and do a good job. The problem is you have to get people who actually have a passion, who have drive, who have ambition. You have to have people who want to excel. And that's not Compile, sadly. Compile really doesn't have it in them, I feel, to go up against anybody. I mean, for Christ's sake, there's this one really kind of crappy game. It's not a bad game, but it's not as good as it should be, I should say. Dragonstar Varnir also had really good romances in it. Even if the rest of it was kind of dicey. And yet, I feel like in many ways, Dragonstar does kind of beat out Agarest. Doesn't beat Persona ever, but the sad thing is we have games that do have potential to go up against it, that could manage to go up against it and survive that kind of throwdown. The problem is, though, is too many mistakes were made.
I don't know why, but for some reason in my brain, I'm just imagining, what if you put Conception and Agarest War together,
Oh. Huh.
where you have multiple kids with multiple ladies that you're wooing, and these are the kids of the next generation that you end up having to be your party.
I mean, it'd be needing tweaking. It would need some tweaking, both in its balancing
But like,
department and in
it's
its
done in the Agarest
lore
War style.
explanation. But it is a really cool idea.
Like, it's
It's
just
a
like
good one.
your character is a monogamist
Yeah. I mean,
in like Gen 1, and then it fleshes out into like single couples in like Gen 2, 3, 4, and 5.
it's a good idea, and I really do like it. And I like how if we tweak it enough, it could be something really cool and kind of like a difficult decision all of a sudden. Because now it's like we're
It's like
deciding,
you have all these kids. Who is your main story character?
and
And
who's just the
what other
side.
characters go and do shit?
Yeah, it's a cool idea, and I like the implication of it, especially since that also goes to explain why you have so many kids, and it does a better job of explaining it than that of conception. So, I mean,
Like the tagline could be like, "This world needs heroes. Get ready to flirt."
yeah, I do like the idea. I'm gonna have to probably tweak that last line, the title of it, but I do like the idea. I do think there's potential there. Granted, we'd have to be very careful because that can get copyrighted real quick. That could be a red flag. But it's a neat idea, but it also does beg the question of why has no one thought of, hey, why don't we take these two games and instead of just making it so that they're just a horrible mashup, Valorant. Maybe we could take it and tweak it to a point where it doesn't look even remotely like either aspect, but takes inspiration from both. Why has no one really done this? I mean, if you think about it, the closest company I can think of off the top of my head that does often, almost religiously even, take two games and say, what if we just merge them together? Hence how we got Valorant. Which isn't a bad game, don't get me wrong. It's not. But can we get maybe a bit more creative with it? Just a little bit? And we are getting off track bad.
Yeah.
Let me try and rein it back in a little.
Yeah, we gotta get back into Agarest
So,
here.
when it comes to Agarest, there's another aspect that kind of, I don't know if he knows about it.
I don't know
think he
what
knows
you
about
mean.
it. But we're going to talk about something that doesn't really show its real A game until you're like 90, 110, 190 hours in. All right? Like, we're talking.
I only played the
far
game
in.
like 40, 50 hours.
Yeah, so he's not going to see what the true benefit is. He might have gotten a taste. He might have gotten a little taste. But he doesn't really got the whole impact.
Let's just
of
say
it.
when I was playing, I was addicted.
Yeah. So, if you're watching this, you probably know this. When it comes down to Agarest War, there's one thing that I at first overlooked. And boy, did I hate myself for overlooking it. Smithing. Smithing.
You say smithing?
Uh-huh. Crafting items.
Oh, I actually had an experience with crafting, which was I didn't do it.
Yeah. I didn't either at first. I hated myself badly. God.
Because it was all like, you need these certain items, you need to do these certain things in these certain chapters, you only get one shot at it to get that fucking item.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I wish I could redo a battle over and over after I fucking finished it. Give some replayability while you're playing the game.
Yeah.
Without
That
having
would
to
be a great
restart.
thing. Especially since the second one has 4 times as much of it, but I digress. And it also is 4 times as long, difficult,
I
obnoxious.
could have made a weapon with like 40 extra attack in like the first generation of character. But I didn't. I didn't. Because I didn't have the fucking items, and it did. Like, it explained it to me. It's like, where the fuck do I get this item? And then I look, I'm like, oh shit, that was last chapter. What the fuck do I do? I don't want to restart the
Yeah.
game. I've already been playing 15 hours.
So, I did much the same. Then on my second playthrough, I actually did smithing. Oh my god. I can't make a comparison between my first play and my second playthrough. Oh my god.
I
Smithing.
imagine smithing makes it a different beast.
Uh, oh my god. I went from I do pretty good damage to oh, I just butt raped you as hard as I could, you stupid bastard. Everything died instantly. Every thing. Oh my god. I went from having a couple of really nasty fights where I had to play it really smart to, oh, you're dead? But I sneezed. I just sneezed. How are you dead? I've
There,
played it
there
on
were
easy, to be fair. I start off on easy so I can learn the mechanics. Because I always screw it up early. I always do, without fail. So I start on easy and I do the harder difficulties afterwards. Once I've gotten a grasp on it. Once I had smithing down, I kind of wish I would have jumped to normal. I wish I had jumped to normal. Because nothing lived when I walked in the room. I barely... You know how those like JoJo moments where it's like somehow everything's dead in a blink?
Zawarudo.
Yeah, well, I'm going to call this the you're deadza. You doneza. Finn, roll credits. I just had to walk in a room, all of a sudden credits roll, everyone's dead. There wasn't a
Well, that was a
flash, there was a
short
blink,
movie.
no one had to say anything. They're all dead. Smithing can make you a beast. And then you get to the late game smithing. I've seen bodies drop in cartoons. I've seen it drop in anime. I've never seen anything drop like late game smithing. Oh my
Let the
god.
bodies hit the floor.
Oh, the enemies that are 6 maps away are dead too? Well, shit. It's the most ridiculous
Chapter
it can be.
boss is already dead. I
Yeah.
didn't even touch him.
I just started this chapter. How is he already dead? I just blinked. How is he already dead? What the hell? It's
You
crazy.
blink 5 hours pass, everyone's dead. You don't know how it happened.
Yeah, it can get crazy once you get that late game smithing done. You can do freaking monster. Like, I'm typically shocked and impressed when I can get a 150 move combo. I'm starting to think the reason why people are able to get 999 hit combos is solely because they did late game smithing. I'm like convinced of that. Like, that's like one my conspiracy theory, alright? All I need is a corkboard chalkboard, alright? That's all I'm missing. It is crazy. Another thing that, since we talked about combos, we have to talk about another thing. Now, this, he can talk a bit about. He can't go long, though, sadly. The overall special effects, the looks of moves. Some of them don't sound like they should be impressive. Others sound impressive and are. Just one example of countless ones I can go with. Deadly Orbit. What is that?
Sounds like a laser should come off screen and just boom,
Do you know what it is?
and they're dead.
It is literally you are slashing them as you've encased them in a magical casing shaped like a planet.
Now, what sounds better?
And
What
then
you said or
crash
what I
them
said?
down into the ground.
What sounds better? What you said or what I said?
Both. I feel like they're both pretty awesome. If you say neither of those sound awesome, you lied.
Like,
You
like
lied.
you say that, and I imagine the Hammer of Dawn from Gears of War.
And you know what's funnier? That Deadly Orbit move? You can pretty much ping that off at the opening. You could literally level 5. You could pop that move off. You could pop the Deadly Orbit I just described to you. You could pop that off at level 5. 5. And that's not even the flashiest move either. What? Why? Why am I kind of a cool badass at the start? But a question: how did you? What? It's kind of a trip just to see the moves you can pop off, and especially when you trigger them by accident, you feel like this rush of like, I just did that. I did that fool. I did that shit. It's a cool feeling. It's a rewarding feeling. Especially, like I said, when you stumble into them by accident. Like I did. Often. Unintentionally.
I felt like that when I was playing Bats and Katos when I did the card combos. I'm like, holy shit, that's like 5,000 damage! I fucking did the combo!
Yeah. The game makes you feel like this rush of like, I just did that crap. That's so dope. Especially since it also knows how to make it so it's not too punishing to trigger these things. There are plenty of like books called Historica books that give you access to these moves ahead of time, allowing you to see exactly what triggers what when merged with what. So it basically allows you to either A, fumble into it like an idiot with two thumbs,
I did that mostly.
Or use a book and have already the knowledge of exactly what you need to trigger it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I ended up going through with the first option, so I ended up just using those a lot until I stumbled across the next awesome combo. It made me way underpowered.
Yeah, it can make you way underpowered. It's also the fun though still when you do that, when it just works. Where unlike Todd Howard, where it actually does literally just work with no issues.
Totally not shaming the man.
Totally not. Maybe a little. Totally not. Maybe a little.
Shout outs to the Chalk Walkers for the song.
Uh,
Chalk Eaters, I mean. Great song.
It's another thing that I feel like needs to be said, because it's something that they do a good job. Not the best job. Not the best. But a good job at is making it so that this way each one of the protagonists, even if they look too alike for my liking, they are still interesting, arguably. They're still kind of interesting. Because their personalities are kind of different.
It is nice. Like, I gotta say, like, you start off with one character, and then say, next generation, he's a noble character, and the last generation character wasn't a noble character. It's like, completely different upbringing. So, like, yeah, they act different. They're not fucking, like, Brie Larson being a fucking wood plank board.
See? It's such a nice thing, and it makes you latch onto them more, because now it's like, oh, they're so different. It's so cool. And it makes you so you find that one that like has a personality that's like your own. For example, my favorite character, Toma, he's literally a troll, and he's me. He's a manho and a troll.
Out of the 3 generations that I played, I fell in love with the 2nd generation main character.
Yeah. I can never remember his name, depressingly enough, so I just called him Caesar. Which...
Yeah, all I remember about him is that he was blonde and had a blue coat, and and he was my magic man.
Oh, you made him magic?
Yeah.
Oh, I made him a warrior. I forgot that his...
Let me tell you, he was underwhelming. But damn did I love him anyway.
What I found funny is, this is something I didn't know. So the game has a preset favorite that it wants you to be. It wants you to be a battle mage. That's what it really wants. The game wants you to be a battle mage. Alright? The game heavily incentivizes you to be a battle mage. All of the abilities they have are perfect for a battle mage. Granted, to different degrees, thankfully. Otherwise, that would be a problem. But what I found kind of cool is, and this is something I didn't notice the first time. Because like I said, I played it with a warrior character. I tried to make it so every single character down the entire generation tree was warriors. Bad idea. Very bad idea.
I tried to do mage that way.
Yeah. Mage works better than warrior. Let me just tell you that now.
All
mage
the
is like
DPS,
viable.
But none of the health.
Yeah. Mage will work. It does work. It can work. Warrior. Ah, hell no. Ugh. No. No. Warrior. Whew. What's the difference between useless and dog poop? Because that's about where you are if you play a warrior.
Shite.
Yeah. The mage at least does tons of damage. It
But he
may not
can't take a
survive.
hit to save his life.
It might not survive, but it'll do tons of damage.
If he survives
Tons of
round one.
damage. Battle mage though is where it's at. If you want to be like, I want to blitz this. I want to make this game my little hoe to smack around. You want that? You want battle mage, especially since the alts for pretty much every single character, aside from the first one, they're all designed for a battle mage. All of them. If you actually look at what buffs up the alt's damage and what contributes to it, the number of characters that benefit from a battle mage are all of them. All of them. Yikes. Like, even second gen, his ability, his alt, is strong if you're a mage. It's okay if you're a warrior. But where it really wrecks shop is a battle mage. Oh my god.
So you did reasonable damage. I did good damage. The battle mage would be like just fucking Dragon Ball Z Hakai. You're deleted.
No. That's too weak. And yes, I did just say Dragon Ball Z Hakai is too weak. Yeah.
Wow. A lot of people who are Dragon Ball fans that watch this are gonna be like, dislike and fuck you.
I can't think of any move in any game, in any show, that quite is the same as the gap between a Battle Mage and Agarest compared to anybody else. I can't think of anything. Um, Death Note, but you don't need first or last name, you just need to think of them. That's about as close as I can get.
Basically, if you have the Death Note and you took all the deals that the Shinigami gives you to be overpowered.
Yeah, you still need to not. You don't even need their name. You just saw their face one day, some point ago, and you barely remember it. Don't sweat it. I'll still kill him off, and it'll be the right one.
Like,
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
There's broken, there's WTF,
And then there's Battle Mage.
there's God tier, then there's the Battle Mage. The Battle Mage doesn't get any more broken than it already is. It's not possible.
Slightly off topic. Did the Battle Mage get better or worse in 0 and 2?
Um,
Because you played those, I didn't.
I play both of them, and the answer is a tough one. In 2, it's not that it's weaker, it's that everything else got brought up a little.
Everything else got buffed, so it's more on the level.
Yeah. Granted, that also means for the enemies as well. So, it's kind of where it should have been, is more the way to view it in the second. In 0, there's only 2 generations total. 2.
Shit.
So the game is a lot quicker than the other 2. A lot faster paced, too. And you get through crafting goods a lot quicker than the other 2 as well. Like, when I was, I think halfway through the smithing lineup, I was only just now finished with the first playthrough of the original Agarest. Yeah, so here's the thing, though. There's another thing to note. Stats can get even more busted all hell a lot sooner, too. A lot sooner. By the time I was about to wrap up my first playthrough of Agarest War Zero, I had about 150 in, 2 stats.
Holy fuck.
And before you ask, no, I did not play a completionist. I only spent 80 hours, the same amount of time I spent in the original Agarest. So yeah. On a remark of whether or not the battle mage specifically is more or less broken, I don't know. Uh, I think it's about maybe on par with how broken it is in the first. Maybe. I mean, I didn't tamper with any of the big stuff because I knew how broken it was going to be. So I kept myself limited and only used like small abilities instead of leaning into the more heavy duty like destruction stuff.
So you just kind of nerfed yourself so you could have a better time.
Yeah, I nerfed myself hard, knowing how broken it'd be. I don't think I nerfed myself hard enough though. If that's possible. If that's even possible. It was still fun. Um, there is some oddities in that one, which is like its own separate video. Like, the number of odd decisions in the next two games is like, what are you doing? Are you drunk? Are you high? Do you need help? It's pretty bad.
Or the sequels. What the fuck am I drinking edition?
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's the second game where it's like, what the F are we even doing here edition? It's not a bad. The first one, I should say. The first one's not a bad game. It has odd decisions that don't make sense. It's got great bonding events at times. It knows how to get you attached to certain characters. Granted, for every good thing, there has to be some kind of bad. That's just the world. That's the way that works. That's just how it is.
Yeah, there's this thing that I say, like, when a commercial says it's 100%, I'm like, that is via, what's the word?
Bull?
It's confirmably false because nothing can ever be 100%. The most you can get is 99.9. Nothing is ever going to be perfect.
Yeah. Perfection, I'm going to say it. It's not a popular opinion. And
Everyone's gonna have a
magazines
nitpick.
and tons of beauty mags definitely don't want you to hear this. Perfection is BS. It is an outright lie. Perfection is accepting
no gamer movie should ever
imperfection.
get a 10 out of 10.
You want perfection, accept your own imperfection. Because to be imperfect is exactly how you find perfection. You are the way that you are. Nothing can really change or stop that. You're just going to be you. The better question you should be asking is, am I okay with who I am?
We went from Agarest War to a self-help seminar. I think we've gone too far.
I'm going to have to rein it in again, which is fine, because technically, there's no script. They're not meant to be a script. Hell, my original videos were never designed to have a script, ever, so it's fine.
We've been running 40 minutes. Damn,
don't worry, we're almost over.
One.
We're simply going to end it off with this. Agarest War is a fun experience. Flawed, but fun. And you know what? I'm going to throw this now. What would you rate it?
Let's just have a slightly stricter rating instead of like a so-and-so out of 10 instead of 5. I'm going to give this a 2.3.
I'm going to stick with 10s. For multiple reasons. One,
so,
I've never been a fan of the 5s.
Okay, if we're going with 10s, then about a 4.6.
So
he's going to go with a point. Complete it.
He's going to be going a point, but it's for an obvious reason if he hasn't completed it, which I get. I, as someone who has completed and have completed multiples of them, I'm going to give this game the highest I could possibly give for not only a compile heart game, but also considering my experiences with the two games that come afterwards. For me, this game is easily a 6, which the sass part is that is the highest compile is capable of, to me.
That is sad.
Very. Now, there are tons of reasons why, but I don't want to dive into all of its negatives. I'd be here too long. I'd want to lose my mind. I'd probably go start craving mad. And I'm already known as the insane person in the room. So that's not a good idea.
Your people would think it's good content, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. When it comes down to it, I do kind of want to see where Agarest War goes, but the problem is I don't want to see them with compile. I want to see them with someone who actually gives a crap about them. I want this game to get taken into people who actually care about Agarest War, who want to see not only it do well, but also excel. Which is the issue. Everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you laughed at me, with me, because of me, or maybe even just smirked because of me. Hopefully a smirk.
Hey, you got some chuckles out of me.
Please thank my dear friend, the one and only, the Sunday Scrub Lord, Smab himself. Go subscribe to his channel, like his videos, maybe comment on his crap. Watch his live streams, where we both are complete and utter pervs. Thank you all.
Fridays and Sundays.
Yeah, Fridays and Sundays. He overachieving. He overachieving up in here. Thank you all.
And I'm pretty sure that's EST, so see you guys.
See you.